What
Okay.
are
Yeah, I was gonna say, walk me through what the ABCs of AB5. This is
right?
like acronym
I
central
know,
right
and
now.
and which is the opposite of BA, whatever, which is the new variant in COVID.
Right.
Anyway, so AB5 ABC test is got obviously three things that we have to follow. The first thing is the A test is the driver, the independent contractor, as its own business, has to be free of control. It can work. He or she can work wherever they want. They can, if they have more than one truck, they can place their trucks wherever they want to work wherever they want. Period. The C part, I'll get into B in a second because that's the complicated one. The C part is the independent has its own business, has its own authority, manages its own business, pays its own taxes, pays its own bills. It is not just free of control in A, but C, it has its own business and authorities, is the main thing. It can work, they can work for others, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, in most of our um, industry, that we most everybody passes that test fine. We have as a company forever because we've always made our independent contractors run under their authority. They
Mm-hmm.
have their own authority. Back not even 5 years ago, let alone 15, 20, 30 years ago, all independents had to run under our authority in order to get into the ports and the rail.
Oh,
So it
okay.
wasn't even a question. They had to use our authority. And I'll get into that in just a second. They still have to. And I'll get into that detail in just a minute. So the B part of the test is the business to business relationship. California is saying that an independent contractor cannot work for a company that does the exact same business. So a
What?
trucking company cannot work for another trucking
Another
company.
trucking company.
So my company, TGS, cannot work for JB Hunt. JB Hunt cannot work for TGS. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I've worked with, one of your larger members, Divine Intermodal, who handles, some large accounts for you. I, we've had reciprocal agreements. We've worked together for better part of 15 years. I have probably a dozen trucking companies that I work with. Some of them are like Schneider and Swift and Werner that I've worked with for 15, 20, even 30 years, 35 years with Werner. Um, and they're a $4 or $5 billion company. Why can't I work for another company? Why can't they work for me? That doesn't make any sense. So they're putting that all the way down from a Werner Swift all the way down to the one truck guy, independent contractor. They cannot work for me because they're a trucking company and I'm a trucking company. So in order for us to be compliant, there's two ways to be compliant. One, I don't have any independence. I'm solely a company trucking company. So all I do is have company assets and I run company trucks and that's it. That's the 100% way to get around this. And that's what the Teamsters want. I'll talk about that if you like. That's who invented the AB5 law, or was behind it, I should say, with Congresswoman Gonzalez down in San Diego.
State legislator. Yeah.
They
All right.
said, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So the uh, other way to be legal, how we are, is you have to have your brokerage authority. So that's where TGS Transportation has been around since 1985. TGS Logistics actually has been around since 1988, but we
Hmm.
never used it. And that's our brokerage authority. So we renewed our brokerage authority. All of our independents run under TGS Logistics. TGS Logistics is actually the main company now with all of the customers and the independent contractors. And we sub our work out to TGS Transportation when my basically TGS Transportation's only customer now is TGS
Yes,
Logistics.
logistics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
So
a lot there. There's even
there is a
more.
lot there. So the B2B component on section B. See, and I thought you were just having fun with my dyslexia going A, C to B. Um, so the B2B component, that's interesting. Is that unique to just the this can sound weird in my own ignorance. I mean, is that across all sectors or is it specific? Is it like
It's
I
for
mean,
every independent contractor in California. Now, of course, there's I want to say several, like a couple hundred carve outs for attorneys,
mhm,
for CPAs, accountants, for certain doctors, not all doctors,
Hmm.
which is surprising. Some of the more refined doctors don't have carve outs, but dentists have carve outs. And then there's you'd have to look, but there's a lot of carve outs out now.
Yeah.
And then the one that was done, so there were carve outs done in 2019 when the law was agreed upon, but then again in September of 2020 there was a chunk more carve outs, including I think Uber, Lyft.